Like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Jimmy Carter, deregulator extraordinaire. Jimmy Carter faced a tremendous economic problem throughout his presidency from 1977 to 1981. Stagflation, the incredible combination of double-digit annual inflation with economic stagnation and unemployment, was the problem his presidency was intended to solve, but did not solve. 1980. Carter's last full year in office, inflation exceeded 10% a year for the second straight year, and the economy experienced a recession in the 1980s and 1990s, which began shortly after he left office. Carter was certainly the biggest deregulator of all presidents, including Reagan. Carter brought his zeal to his cause, and one of them was deregulation. He freed two industries of enormous importance, aviation and trucking, from the strict regulations of federal agencies, and set the stage for the deregulation of equally compelling industries, including of the phones. In the 1970s, the blanket regulatory apparatus of the New Deal still dominated air travel and trucking operations. By the 1930s, in the face of deflation and collapsing profit margins, the government had become so paranoid that it guaranteed certain running businesses, certain price structures and market monopolies. The experience of farmers not even being able to recoup their costs when farm prices plummeted in the Great Depression convinced President Franklin D. Roosevelt's brain that federal guarantees were needed to keep the big engines of the American economy in business. In the case of the airlines exclusively had route maps in their area and could not charge below a set high price. In the mid-1970s, airlines tried in various ways to invade competitors' route maps and compete on quality, as they were prohibited from price competition. Images of luxury planes serving prime ribs served by uniformed waiters are memes on the internet. Regulations dating back to the 1930s guaranteed certain airlines routes and healthy pricing policies. The heavily urban environment around 1940 limited the damage to this facility. However, when suburbanization began in the 1950s, the costs and bottlenecks became overwhelming. Prior to Carter's inauguration, there had been a bipartisan push to scrap these costly New Deal remnants. The Democrats generally went ahead. Senator Edward M. Kennedy of Massachusetts was a leader along with his assistant and future Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer. When Carter took office, he installed a chief deregulator, the colorful Cornell University economist Alfred Kahn, who was more than up to the task. Carter's appointment of Kahn was a feat and a testament to Carter's leadership abilities. Kahn combined an academic's understanding of the inefficiencies of regulation with an uncanny ability to deal with officials in Washington and business leaders across the country. The deregulation of both industries, airlines and trucks, was completed by legislation introduced and passed between 1978 and 1980. The incumbents in these industries occasionally tried to mount a fight, but they too, tired of the pro-crusted regulatory apparatus, had collapsed in panic by the 1930s. One problem was that their unionized employees knew their pricing structure on file. The Big Bang of deregulation happened the year Ronald Reagan took office. During the 1981-89 Reagan administration, the plans were implemented. Flying has been democratized like never before. Gone were the high prices and the prime rib to compensate. Instead of lower fares and lots of customers, trucks crisscrossed the country, as befits a suburbanized and mobile nation, spawning mega success stories in business, including Walmart and Amazon.com, meant to hit the nation. Some staffers were concerned that the Carter administration had built regulatory enhancements into the agencies that would come automatically in the 1980s. That fear was misplaced. Carter gave Reagan the phenomenal gift of deregulation, combined with marginal tax cuts, most of which took effect in 1983. The economy experienced a slowdown in growth not seen since the roaring 1960s, if not the roaring 1920s. All the capital that Reagan freed up through his tax cuts found room to roam in the deregulated world Carter had created. Why was Carter committed to reversing business regulation? Because he was embarrassed, and he rightly felt that deregulation would dampen inflation. He was also embarrassed by the tax law, its complexity, the immensity of its deductions, and the falsification that existed in relation to the discrepancy between the rates reported and the rates actually effective.